She holds the record for the most Oscar and Golden Globe nominations. She is a woman who can disappear into any role and inspire millions around the globe. But who was Meryl Streep before she became a household name? Why did she once believe she wasn't beautiful enough for Hollywood? And what personal tragedy did she have to endure before rising to cinematic greatness? Settle in, because today we're telling the story of one of the greatest actresses of our time. Mary Louise Streep was born on June 22, 1949, in the small town of Summit, New Jersey. Her father, Harry Streep, worked as a pharmaceutical executive, while her mother, Mary, was a former artist. Meryl grew up with two younger brothers, Harry and Dana. As a child, she was often responsible for household chores and caring for the family. Meryl would later describe her mother as a powerful woman who, despite her creativity, had to set aside her potential to care for her family. Mary worked as a commercial artist in a small studio behind their garden. Meryl's name was a tribute to her family lineage. Mary, after her paternal grandmother, and Louise in honor of her maternal grandmother. There's an interesting story behind the Streep surname. According to legend, her ancestors were Sephardic Jews who emigrated from Spain to Holland in the 15th century. When they arrived, they didn't know the local language and signed documents with a dash. That dash became streep, a word in Dutch meaning line or stroke. Another theory ties the name to a Dutch expression, zetter een streep door, which loosely translates to, let's start over. Despite her Jewish heritage, Meryl's father was raised in the Episcopal Church. She describes her upbringing as Presbyterian in spirit and Jewish in blood. Harry was diligent and worked tirelessly for his family, while Mary instilled an appreciation for beauty and creativity in her children. Meryl's first brush with acting came at the age of 6, when she played the Virgin Mary in a school production. Even then, she sensed the power of performance. Her usually rowdy brothers watched her in complete awe. That moment ignited her passion for acting. She was drawn to classic Hollywood icons like Carole Lombard, Bette Davis, and Barbara Stanwyck, whose films would influence her own aspirations. But Meryl wasn't just a budding actress, she was also a gifted singer. While studying at Bernard's High School, teachers noticed her vocal talents and encouraged her parents to get her formal training. At age 12, her parents hired Estelle Liebling, a renowned vocal coach who had trained opera great Beverly Sills. Meryl loved music, especially Barbra Streisand, whose storytelling through song deeply inspired her. Streisand's dramatic delivery made each song feel like a mini-movie, something Meryl found captivating.
There was even a time when Meryl planned to pursue a career in opera, but as a teenager, she changed course. Opera started to feel outdated and boring to her, and being a cheerleader seemed far more exciting. She dyed her hair blonde, flipped through fashion magazines, and redefined her image. Reflecting on that time, she joked that she looked like a middle-aged secretary with cat-eye glasses and a brown neck-length perm, and she was tired of it. Her biographer, Michael Schulman, describes this phase as Meryl's first real performance. She observed what boys liked and what girls found acceptable, then expertly mimicked it all. She could mimic other people's behavior with faultless precision, Schulman wrote. Around this time, smoking began to affect her singing voice as well. Meryl's upbringing blended two contrasting influences, her mother's artistry and her father's discipline. She wasn't taught to cook, and only as an adult did she learn how. She once admitted she saw a raw potato for the first time at a classmate's house, having assumed mashed potatoes came from a bag. But what her father did teach her was invaluable: hard work and order. That work ethic would become one of her defining traits. Meryl would later say, anyone who wants to achieve anything has to work hard. She always gave her best and expected the same from others. In high school, Meryl saw herself as more of an art editor than a stage performer. Bernardian art editor. That's what I was. Diane Sawyer, eat your heart out. she would later joke. After graduation, she enrolled at the prestigious Vassar College, a decision that would shape her future. One day, drama professor Clinton Atkinson asked her to perform Blanche Dubois' monologue from A Streetcar Named Desire during a student showcase. No one expected much. Meryl wasn't seen as a typical performer. But when she stepped on stage, everything changed. The room went silent. She delivered the monologue with such intensity and nuance that everyone was stunned. From that moment on, she was constantly cast in student productions. It was during one of these performances that Robert Brustein, dean of the Yale School of Drama, noticed her talent. Impressed, he not only invited her to join his theater troupe, but also recommended her for a full scholarship to Yale. Interestingly, Meryl once considered becoming a lawyer. She even planned to take the entrance exam, but overslept. She took it as a sign and chose to pursue acting instead. At Yale, she immersed herself in practical theater, working as a costume designer in summer productions. Her talent continued to shine. In one dramatic exercise, all students were asked to act out a death scene. While others chose predictable methods like poisoning or shooting, Meryl portrayed an abortion scene. The impact was unforgettable. Her classmates even coined the phrase to "streep it up," meaning to elevate the level of performance. Meryl distinguished herself in many ways. She wasn't afraid to appear unattractive on stage and fully immersed herself in every role. Schulman noted that she resisted the popular method acting style of the time. Instead of drawing on personal trauma, Meryl relied on her imagination, believing pain wasn't essential to artistry. What her instructors initially saw as indifference was actually her quiet rebellion against theatrical conformity. Meryl once said, "Why did I become an actress? Probably because my friends said I was good at it in college." She loved performing, but didn't yet believe she could make a living from it. She earned her Bachelor of Arts in Drama and later her Master of Fine Arts from Yale School of Drama. By the time she graduated, Meryl had played over 40 leading roles, ranging from Chekhov to Shakespeare, and even absurdist plays like The Idiot's Karamazov, where she portrayed both a young woman and an 80-year-old. After graduating, Meryl set her sights on Broadway and moved to New York in 1975. She hit the ground running, appearing in 6 productions in her first year alone. These included performances at the New York Shakespeare Festival like Henry V, The Taming of the Shrew with Raoul Julia, and Measure for Measure, where she starred alongside Sam Waterston and John Cazale, an actor who would soon become her romantic partner. Even in her early years, Meryl earned praise from critics and audiences alike. She performed in the musical Happy End, as well as Chekhov's The Cherry Orchard and The Seagull, all of which earned her Drama Desk Award nominations. She also received an Obie Award for her work in Alice in the Palace and 27 Wagons Full of Cotton. Her Broadway success even brought her a Tony Award nomination. However, when her film career began to take off, Meryl took a long hiatus from stage acting. Despite this promising start, Meryl's transition into film wasn't smooth. At age 26, she began exploring the movie industry, but quickly discovered that success on stage didn't guarantee a warm welcome in Hollywood.